after completing the last stitch of the first round and pulling the first stitch together. The first round is finished. Next, let's crochet the second round. First, let's take a look at the pattern for the second round. For the second round, our crocheting pattern is to make 6 increases. After completing this round, it will become 12 stitches. So, for the first round, we crocheted 6 single crochets, 6 stitches in a magic loop. Then, crochet 6 increases in the second round. We need to increase 6 stitches based on the first round, increasing to 12 stitches. Next, let me demonstrate. Please take a look. Here's a loop. This loop is where we initially start crocheting. We crocheted 6 stitches in the first round. That's these 6 sections here. This is a schematic of our first crochet round. Take a look. There are a total of 6 stitches. Starting counting from the stitch marker here as the first stitch. The stitch marker we placed here is the first stitch. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A total of 6 stitches. What we see now in the current round is a V shape. This is a slip stitch. It serves a connecting function. So, this stitch isn't counted. We've finished the 6 stitches for the first round. Now, for the second round, we will crochet 6 increases after crocheting. This round has 12 stitches. There are 12 squares here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. After crocheting the second round, it becomes 12 stitches. So, from 1 stitch in the first round, we'll soon have 2 stitches in the second round. This is what's called an increase. It means that from 1 stitch in the first round, it becomes 2 stitches in the second round. This achieves the purpose of increasing stitches from 6 stitches in the first round to 12 stitches in the second round. The 2 stitches crocheted in the first round are merged together. This is an increase. We are going to crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 increases. These correspond to the 6 increases in the pattern. So after saying this, you will now demonstrate how to crochet increases. Insert the crochet hook into the loop. And pull the loop up to a height that can accommodate 2 crochet hooks. Then wrap the loop around your left hand. First from above the pinky to below the pinky. Then around the palm to behind the index finger. Then to the front of the index finger. Then slightly bend the pinky. And grasp the yarn end. Then pinch the piece with the middle finger and thumb. If our index finger doesn't grab the yarn well enough, you can wrap the yarn around the index finger twice. At this point, grasp the fabric with the middle finger and thumb to start crocheting the second round. When finishing the first round, mention this. Our final stitch is connected with the first stitch. It's joined with the first stitch of the first round, so the position of the slip stitch is where our first stitch is. The position of the stitch marker, where we hook the slip stitch, is the first stitch. Next, we remove the stitch marker. After removing it, the place where the stitch marker was is our first stitch. where we need to insert the hook. Alright, before crocheting the second round, we first need to crochet a chain stitch. Hold the loop with the index finger. Pull the yarn from this loop. This is our chain stitch for the second round. On the basis of crocheting this chain stitch, we can now crochet the 6 increases for the second round. Alright, when crocheting the first increase, the insertion point is where we removed the stitch marker just now. It's right where we removed the stitch marker. I mentioned earlier that 1 increase equals 2 single crochets. They come from the same stitch. This is called an increase. Now I will demonstrate how to crochet 2 single crochets into 1 stitch. Let's review how to crochet a single crochet. First, hold the loop with the right index finger. Then insert the hook into the first V formed by the first round. The insertion point is here. Then wrap the yarn around the hook. Pull it through this stitch. Pull the loop up to the same height as the first loop and pull the yarn through again. Pull it through the loop. This is how you crochet a single crochet. The second round we're crocheting is increases. 1 increase equals crocheting 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Next, I will continue to insert the hook into this stitch. Insert the hook, pull the yarn through. Pull the 2 loops to the same height, then pull the yarn through again. Pull the hook out of the loop. Like this, we've completed crocheting 2 single crochets in the first stitch. Do you still remember where the first stitch is? We've crocheted 2 single crochets in the first stitch. These 2 single crochets correspond to 2 V shapes. The first V shape here is the first stitch. We need to place a stitch marker here, which is our first stitch. Can you see it? There's another V before our first stitch. Moreover, there will be many more V's produced next. So, how do we identify the first stitch of the second round? Simply put, the first single crochet corresponding to the slip stitch after crocheting the chain is the first stitch of our second round. We place the stitch marker on the first stitch. Now we can see we've crocheted 2 single crochets in the first stitch of the first round. So now we've crocheted the first increase of the second round, which means crocheting 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Okay. Rehold the yarn. Next, let's crochet the second increase of the second round. The insertion point for the second increase is 1 stitch to the left of where we crocheted the first increase. Insert the hook here. Alright, we insert the hook into the loop, then yarn over. Pull the yarn through the loop. Now there are 2 loops on the hook. Then yarn over again. Pull the yarn through both loops. This is the 3rd single crochet. An increase requires crocheting 2 single crochets into the same stitch, so we need to continue crocheting the 4th single crochet in this stitch. Insert the hook. Pull the yarn through the loop. Now there are 2 loops on the hook. Then yarn over again, pull it through both loops. This is the 2nd single crochet, and this completes the 2nd increase as well. This is the 1st increase. This is the 2nd increase. After crocheting the 2nd increase, the 2nd round becomes 4 stitches. Let's check if it's correct. The stitch where the stitch marker is placed is the 1st stitch. Counting from the 1st stitch, there are a total of 4 single crochets. These are the 4 stitches crocheted by the 2 increases of the 2nd round. Okay, now the 2 increases have been crocheted. Next, we still need to crochet for more increases in this round. Let me demonstrate. Insert the hook into the loop and pull the yarn. Now there are 2 loops on the hook. Pull the yarn through both at once. This is the 1st single crochet of the 3rd increase stitch. Then insert the hook into the same stitch, again. Pull the yarn through the loop. Now there are 2 loops on the hook. Then pull the yarn through both loops. So far, we have completed the 3rd increase. From the side of the loop, you can see that there are already 6 single crochets. Look, there are 6 V-shapes. Now let's crochet the 4th increase. Now we've completed crocheting 4 increases. Let's continue with the 5th increase. We've completed crocheting 5 increases. By following the same steps, let's continue with the last increase. Alright, so far, we have completed 6 increases for the second round. Let's count the stitches. This is the first increase. This is the second increase. This is the third increase. This is the fourth increase. This is the fifth increase. This is the sixth increase. After crocheting 6 increases, our second round of stitches has expanded from 6 stitches in the first round to 12 in the second. Alright, now let's count them. Starting from the stitch where we placed the marker, counting the first stitch. This is the first V shape of the first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright, a total of 12 stitches. Now, the 6 increases of the second round are complete. After that, a connection needs to be made to the first stitch. The last stitch of the second round is connected to the first stitch. Here we use the slip stitch again. Insert the crochet hook into the first stitch where the marker is placed. Then yarn over the hook and pull the yarn through. Pull it out from our first stitch. At this point, there are 2 loops on the hook. At this time, you do not need to wrap the yarn. Continue to pull the second loop through the first loop directly. Now the 6 increases of the second round are completed. And the second round has formed a circle. That concludes the crocheting of our second round ring.